sometimes you have to go, you can't take no for an answer. You have to show up and be willing to take a car in the chest to get things done.
What was going through your mind when you're standing in the driveway and you see the backup lights coming at you fast?
Oh man, heart was out of my chest. I was thinking, is it worth it? Is the risk reward worth it?
Today on the podcast, we have Matt Bauscher. Matt is a native to Caldwell, Idaho. He is a real estate agent, and he's the number one agent in the state of Idaho. He is one of the top agents in the United States, and he's a phenomenal team leader. Matt was actually the first agent to ever join Amherst Madison, and he's somebody who has become a close friend and partner of mine over the years, and it's my honor to sit down and have a conversation with Matt Bauscher. Number one agent in the state of Idaho, one of the top agents in the country. I mean, stats, what's the saying about stats and how they can be manipulated?
Yeah.
But I've seen as high as like number 9 in the country, like 25. Where are you at nationally?
It's up there. I know our team. I'm proud our team is number one large team in the whole Northwest, in the Midwest, in the upper Northeast. I think Florida and California are the 2 states that we don't have that accolade. So we're higher than 47 states probably.
Impressive. And as you've said, from the potato state.
Little potato, nothing going on.
Little potato, nothing going on. Man, not anymore. You and I have seen that change, haven't we?
Oh man, it's definitely different than our childhood of growing up here.
Yep. The last thing I'll say in terms of introduction is that stats and numbers and number one aside, I've always heard such great things about agents that you've done deals with. And I always think that's like the number one barometer of an agent is go talk to the agents that they've done transactions with and ask them how they are to work with. Because that's where you really find out like what somebody's made of. If you talk to their clients, clients are always going to say that the agent's great. But go talk to somebody they've done a deal with.
I think when you have stories too that kind of traumatize you a little bit, you know what you don't want to be. I remember it was my first year in real estate, and this lady had been in the industry for 15 years, and she said, "Matt, I sell $10 million a year, and I cannot believe this is going to be delayed. Like it is a despicable, like disgraceful," and just went off on me. And I remember thinking, if I ever when I become successful, I will never ever treat somebody like that and belittle them just because I sell more houses than them.
Yeah.
And then to go back on that, like her annual sales, sometimes we do in one day, that there's no reason to belittle. Let them want to work for you. Let them want to show your listings. Let's collaborate and reach success instead of trying to belittle somebody.
Do you feel like that's changed at all in terms of, I have to say that I agree. When I came into the business, which was just a couple more years before you, I had so many of those experiences of being talked down to and disrespected by agents because they were more experienced or they sold more. And the industry was really that way. Do you think it's still that way? Or do you
think it's gotten way better.
Yeah.
And I like to think that when I'm kind to people and when others start being kind to people, it trickles and it's a great thing. Like living in this community, you don't honk the horn. You hear somebody honk the horn. It's like, what the heck's going on? You open the door for somebody. Somebody else opens the door for somebody. And it's a positive, it's contagious in a positive way.
Yep.
Because it's like, if I'm going to be nice to other agents, I can't be rude to somebody.
Yep.
Right. And it sets a really good standard.
I do think that, I really believe that that's true. And I think that there's a lot that's changed in our industry in terms of marketing, technology, branding yourself, the pace of the industry, the role of teams. Like there's been a lot of things just in our career that we've seen change. But I think that culturally, that part has changed too. I do think that agents are more professional and respectful to each other. I know as crazy as that might sound, I think that it's better than it was a decade ago.
Oh, it's way better. Without a doubt.
Yeah, because it was pretty ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody looks at Matt and thinks, I'm talking about real estate people now, I'd love to be him. I'd love to be that guy. I'd love to have those sales. I'd love to be number one. And one of the things I've tried to remind people of is the pace of your life and the pressure of your life is something that you have grown adjusted to and built over time. And I've told people, you might not like it as much as you'd think if you just got plucked down in the middle of negotiating 5 contracts at the same time and you got to go on 3 listing appointments in one day and you got people yelling at you, why isn't my $5 million house sold or why isn't my $1 million lot sold? What about that from your perspective? I'd love to hear your perspective on that pressure and everybody saying, man, must be nice.
You know, I wish that they could be in my head for 24 hours and like see my phone for 24 hours and the emails and some of that stuff that I embrace and I love. I know I can have a bad day for myself and things are fine and it's okay. But I don't want to have a bad day for my team, my clients, and I love that pressure. And I love to embrace that pressure. But there's a lot going on. And I think your bandwidth starts to increase. And year like 2, 3, 4, there's no way I could mentally take on what I'm taking on now. But it's like a muscle. I think as years go on, you get more experience and stronger, and you're able to handle more. Your plate gets a little bit bigger on what you can take in, right? Your bandwidth, I would say.
Yeah, no, it does for sure. Not always as simple as just plucking somebody down in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Crushed.
Oh,
you get crushed.
It'd be like one of those videos. They're trying to, the waves are just knocking them out, right? They're trying to surf. And
one of the stories that I love, I got to hear you tell this story, is the seller that you had in Spurwing, where you're over there in the morning in the driveway. I think it was in Spurwing, and the guy's like just going to back over you with his car.
Oh, yeah.
And you're trying to negotiate a deal and like the listing expired. Could you tell that story?
Oh my gosh. Of course I'll tell a story. So it was actually a house in Boise.
Okay.
They basically said, I had a 6-month contract, and this is early in my career. And they said, hey, on day 180, you're fired. Get your effing sign out of the yard. You're not going to have it. The listing won't be yours. So it's about day 140. And I know that I got very little time to sell this house. And we've showed the thing, and the market was a lot harder back then. Well, lo and behold, I pull a rabbit out of my hat on day 179. We get an offer that's low. I am able to negotiate them up to the asking price.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get a hold of my client, and I'm calling him straight to voicemail. I'm texting him, no answer. Like, I email, nothing back. And I know that the buyers and their agent are hammering me, and I know I'm fired on day 180.
Yep.
So I'm like, well.
The next day. Yeah.
So I go, well, I got a few options here. I take the contract, I print it off, and I drive over to his house. And I go up to the door, and he's got this long cobble driveway. I go up to the door, and it's got glass on both sides. And I knock on the door, I ring the doorbell, and I see him walking. And I go like this with the glass.
Yeah.
He walks up to the door and goes like this, and walks away. And I'm like, what?
Bro.
He doesn't know, what is happening?
So was this day 179 or was this the next day?
This is day 180.
This is day 180.
This is day 180.
This is morning,
it's the morning of day 180.
So you must have caught him before he went to work.
It was right when he was on his way to work.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, that didn't go well. So I go out on his long driveway, and he gets into a sports car, and he is zooming, and this driveway is 100 feet long. He is zooming down the cobblestone to get to work. And I am like, does he not see me? I stand in front of the driveway with my hands up like this, saying, stop, stop, stop. And I'm like, am I going to get ran over? And and he stops and rolls down the window about this much. And I said, hey, you hired me for a reason. You hired me because you knew I wouldn't quit, that I was going to grind till the job was done. And he thought I was going for a contract extension. And he goes, yeah, you've worked hard. Work ethic wasn't an issue, but you didn't get results. And I said, well, actually, and I pull it out of my back pocket, I got an offer and it's full price. And he goes, I'll be damned. He send it over. Zoom. He signed the contract. We closed the house, and that was it. But I tell that story, like, sometimes you have to go, you can't take no for an answer. You have to show up and be willing to take a car in the chest to get things done.
What was going through your mind when you're standing in the driveway and you see the backup lights coming at you fast?
Oh, man. Heart was out of my chest. I was thinking, is it worth it? Is the risk reward worth it?
I mean, is this guy going to get out and fight you? Like, you're on his property, right? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, because that was the last day. And it's like, you just think back to the driveway as a little kid, down by 2, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah.
Buckets.
Classic, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
What a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody out there that thinks that they want it, thinks that it's easy. Are you going to stand in the middle of some guy's driveway and let him run you over?
Yeah, that's a question you got to ask yourself.
That's a lot of want it right there.
How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about where you came from. Where did Matt grow up, and what was childhood like?
So I was born in Twin Falls, lived in Kimberly, a little town outside Twin Falls, until first grade. We moved to Caldwell. My mom's family all lived in that Homedale area, so we wanted to be closer. My mom wanted to be closer to family. My dad got a job. So we moved here in about first grade, went to Valley View all through K-6, middle school, high school, grew up with the same group of guys, fell in love with sports, fell in love with the Treasure Valley. Always been an Idaho kid, but I didn't have a lot of God-given talent as far as looks, height, speed, none of that stuff. So I figured out there's got to be a lot of other characteristics you're going to have to excel at if you want to stand out.
Matt, you're a driven guy. You're one of the few people I know that is just as driven as I am. And you and I have had some of these conversations before about where that comes from, but I'd love to have you share with people. When you think back about your childhood, I mean, where do you first remember shooting a ball, training, going on a run, doing push-ups? I mean, where did you first remember starting, like, that fire starts building in you? And where did it come from?
My parents were they're completely different, but my mom was all the compassionate, the soft side, and my dad was kind of the quiet workhorse. So I kind of took his work ethic of being quiet. He never really was boisterous or told me to work hard. He just did it by example. And then my mom was always it's all about other people, share, compassion, empathy. So I kind of got a combination of both, but I just remember always having self goals. Like I'd be in the driveway and I just would always talk to myself and I'd be shooting and I'd have to make 10 in a row, or I'd miss a shot. And even though there's no one there, I feel like I let so many people down, and I'd 3, 2, 1, and just always having self-talk, I guess. I talk to myself constantly.
Sounds like you're putting some pressure on yourself.
Oh, I love it. And that pressure is what, that pressure just it makes me alive. It makes me feel like if there's something on the line, I feel like I'm more focused. I'm more dialed. I'm more, and guys golf with me and they're like, gosh, if there's something on it, you play way better. And I'm not a good golfer, but I feel like if there's some stakes, I feel like I'm going to do better.
I want to make sure I don't butcher this because I always flip it around, but do you love winning more or hate losing more?
Oh, I hate losing. I love winning too, though. That's a hard question. I hate losing because if I win, it feels good for 5 minutes. If I lose, it stings for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things, they don't go away, do they?
No. And like throughout you just take basketball or business. I remember the big losses in basketball just as much as the wins.
Well, yeah, you probably remember some from when you were a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what are some of like the Valley View
I remember losing. We won state my sophomore year. We lose first round my junior year. I remember bawling and for me, all the hard work, and we lost, thinking life's over, In a moment when there's stress and there's failure, you feel like that is the biggest moment. And it becomes this overwhelming feel of failure, right?
Yeah.
If I had the wisdom now, I just take a deep breath and be like, I'm so glad I lost. It's going to prepare me for the next step. Like embrace failure.
Yeah. You embrace it, but I feel like the part that doesn't change is doing everything you can to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though you know it probably is going to happen again.
Oh, absolutely. Like if my kids lost and we're just laughing and joking 2 minutes later, I'd be alarmed. My kid's losing a game and you can see it.
Yep.
They're upset.
Yeah. It's hard to learn how to, not self-destruct and get down on yourself while at the same time taking losing seriously. Don't you think? I mean, don't you think there's a fine line there? Like you have to maintain your confidence, not get down on yourself. But, if you're smiling and you're all happy after you lost, there's an issue with that too.
There's a big issue with that. And I think when you get down, whether it's life, business, whatever, when you're down and you're losing and your back's up against the wall, that is the time right there. Is your energy still good? Are you still positive? Do you still feel like you're going to win? Or do you shut down and go into the fetal position?
Talk a little bit about sports. So going back to your youth and basketball and other sports you're doing, what role do you think sports has played in your life in terms of building this machine?
Sports are everything. I mean, if you want to go somewhere really, really fast, you go alone. If you want to go far and make impact, and the camaraderie of sports, the work, the holding each other accountable, the fighting for your brothers or your sisters, and now getting to coach the youth, it's like full circle. I'm like, I don't care if we lose, But don't be clapping when we're winning and then we're down by 10 and the whole bench is quiet and everybody shrugs their body language. That's when you have to be outward. Anytime you're inward, you're selfish and you're thinking, poor me, and you're quiet, right?
Yep.
You're outward, you start clapping for your teammates. I don't care if you miss 7 shots in a row. If you're thinking about yourself, you're going to be sad. But if you're thinking about the team, you're going to be positive.
That's well said.
Yeah.
And don't you think in sports, if you take the lessons to heart, do it the right way, you learn how to lose correctly and how to come back from it. And we don't often focus on that. Everybody in sports tends to focus on the winning.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you see the winning and you see the journey and the hard work behind the scenes, but you rarely see the losing.
Yeah.
Right? Like how they go home after a game after losing. When is that ever broadcasted?
Never. What was your biggest loss in high school?
Oh, high school losing in the state. Junior year and senior year, we didn't win the state championship. And it was gut-wrenching. I'm glad I got a state championship as a sophomore. Yeah. But to not get it as a junior and a senior in a state like Idaho, I mean, that's hard to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the same experience. We won state when I was a sophomore and then never got back there again.
You think you're just going to win it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was gut-wrenching. It really was. And then we lost a Game 7, best of 7 finals in Europe. And if we win that game, not only do you get bonuses and championships and parades and all of the monetary and the pat on the backs of winning, it would have helped me get a lot better contract with my agent the next year. So it was an overtime game we had lost, and it was 1 inch was the difference.
Yeah, when you get older in sports, it's not just glory you're talking about anymore. Now there's money on the line.
Oh, yeah. It's like real estate. You go on a listing appointment and you get second place. You get nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, you get absolutely nothing. You might as well have got 9th place. I mean, it's either first or nothing.
Yeah, I don't think people think about it that way often, and I don't really know why. I don't know if it's because they don't have that competitor in them. They don't have the dog in them.
Yeah.
They're scared, or maybe just nobody's ever explained it to them that way, that like you're there to win and you have to win, because if you don't, you can walk away with zero.
Zero. And a lot of times you put in so much work, effort, preparation, money, cost, and you get zero. And it's like those little things are the difference. I mean, this much is the difference between winning and losing. And it's one play, one possession, one call, one follow-up,
Yep.
And then seeking feedback. That's the one thing we're really trying to do. We did a really cool retreat. Leon Rice kind of helped us do a little team retreat this year. First time I've ever invested in a retreat. And the one thing that we do in sports is you get to watch film. And be like, Nick, Matt, where are you at here? And you can watch film and learn. In business, when do you have film on you every day?
You don't.
You don't. So how are we going to improve as men and women in the business world without getting to watch film?
Yeah.
I mean, the team now, they have an iPad that go home and has all the plays of everything you did right and everything you did wrong. You see what you did wrong, you can correct it. You get second place on a business meeting, and you don't have any feedback. How are you supposed to get better for the next job?
Makes me want to have somebody follow me around with a camera all day long.
So the one thing I like doing is I like seeking feedback. Like if you don't hire me, I'm like, Nick, I respect that you didn't hire me. Like what could I have done better? What were my downfalls? What did I do that turned you off, that didn't lead you to like, give me feedback. I want to learn. And they always take it back by that.
Do you still do that?
Always.
So I want to talk about that for a second, because that's really profound in a lot of ways. Because of your success, where you're at in terms of comparing yourself to other people and being number one and how much you sell, it would be very easy. And in fact, it would be normal for you to go down a path of saying, you know what, they didn't pick me because they're a bozo, because I'm number one, and clearly they just don't know that, so screw them. And yet you're not doing that. You're still asking for feedback. Why?
I think any business has evolved so much. I mean, think of us in 2013, how our industry has pivoted in so many ways. I mean, everybody's industry is completely different from 13 years ago. So my thing is, if I'm not learning, if I'm not trying to get better, and I'm number one, who cares? Those sellers don't care, right? They care about their situation. And if I don't seek feedback to get better and see where I did wrong, then I think I'm going to die. I'm not going to evolve as a person, as a businessman, you have to adjust.
Yeah.
Like you have to be humble enough to know that I need to get better and I'm nowhere near my potential. Yeah. And I tell our team all the time, I feel like we're on first base. We're just getting started.
Yeah. And I also have to imagine, Jim Rohn, who's always been a mentor to me, I wish I would have met him. I never met him. He passed away too soon, but I used to watch that guy's YouTube videos when I was working as a firefighter at Boise Fire. And I'd sit up there all night long when we weren't going on calls watching these videos. And one of the things he always talked about was intelligent self-interest. In other words, like we all have self-interest, and you're lying to yourself if you don't. And when I hear you, tell the story of asking for feedback and showing that humility, yeah, of course it's going to lead to growth and learning. But the other thing that I'm sure I'd like to hear you speak to is it probably also leads to more leads and more prospects because of the way it impacts the people that you're dealing with. Like,
oh, for sure.
If I was one of those people, I'd be more likely to send you referrals or do business with you in the future, even if I did say no to you because you were willing to ask for feedback.
Well, a lot of times too, when you get feedback, they're honest with you and they tell you something like, well, my sister-in-law is an agent. Well, I'm not going to refer her to anybody moving forward, but every referral I'll give you, even though I can't personally use you. Yep. So the more you ask questions, the more, you start to understand certain scenarios. It's an intriguing, any business is so intriguing, but at the end of the day, it's, do they trust you? Is your word worth something? Do they trust you?
Yeah. Matt, of all the things in our sales methodology we've developed here and the one I've tried to hammer out and reinforce with people, you and I have been working together for almost 13 years now. And what you just hit on is one of the, I think, a key differentiator in our sales methodology, which is stop looking at these individual people like prospects that are either going to buy or to sell something, and then that's it, and that's your only interest in them, and start understanding that they are a source of referrals and a source of reputation and a source of what your brand is going to be. And you've always latched on to that. Can you talk about that a little bit, what that means to you?
You treat people right, especially in this small town of less than 1 million, and they'll tell somebody. And they'll tell somebody, and they'll tell somebody. The first 6 months, I couldn't sell a house. I was calling phone booths. I was doing anything you could imagine. I was trying. But work ethic alone doesn't get the job done. You can work really, really hard and get no results. So you have to get your name out there, but you got to do it in creative ways that provide value. So my thoughts were, if I treat somebody really, really good, I don't care the price point, I don't care the situation, if they're in 10 years, eventually you just keep putting in the work. You're just basically a farmer, right? You're planting seeds, you're watering it, you're nurturing the land. And then a decade later, everybody's like, whoa, you got all these acres of thriving crops. But you just, every day, planting seeds, watering it. And I got so many stories. One, I go on a very inexpensive condo in a not the greatest part of town. I have no idea who I'm in front of. I come with all everything we're going to do. We're going to provide staging, marketing, video, everything. And at this price point, it's probably a loss to even take it on and do it. But I don't care. You do the right thing. This person, after we sell it, smiles and said, well, we own quite a few in this building. And then we own 16 over here and 18 over there. And we're going to get them a call house. And you didn't know the situation, but they were testing me. And it's just a good story to tell others that everything counts, everything matters.
My career in luxury real estate started because I sold a first-time home buyer a house, and his mom followed us on every single showing and every single step, and was so annoying at times because I was a brand new agent. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but provided him with great service. Well, it turns out that his mom had a luxury home that she needed sold, and that was my first luxury listing 6 months after I sold the first-time home buyer a house, and that kicked off this career in luxury real estate and a lot of things I've done since then. So I always tell that story is like, you never know who's watching. You have to provide great service to everybody, and you never know what opportunities are next.
People say like they fake it till they make it. You see all these people posting listings that aren't theirs and their accolades, and I got a trophy and top producer, and you sold hardly any house. Here's the top producers of the month, and you have all these feel good 7th place ribbons that make people feel good. But the public, I think, knows the truth. I think they'd rather clutch on to humility. And give you an example, getting into luxury real estate. It's 2017. I've never sold $1 million house, and I go into Spurwing. Ralph and Holly are the sellers. They've owned it since day one. And he interviews a bunch of people, and he sends me a message, and he goes, Matt, have you ever sold $1 million house? At that moment, it's a knife to the chest. Yeah. No, I've never sold $1 million house. Do I fake it? Do I make it? Do I say I have people behind me that are going to help me? Like, what do I do? And I go, you know what, Ralph and Holly, I've never sold $1 million house. If you don't give me a chance, who will? I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to knock on every door I have to. I will not sleep until we succeed for you, and I won't rest. And I think that vulnerability they gave me that listing. And now, we sell the majority of $1 million homes out there because somebody gave a chance and I was willing to say, I've never sold $1 million house. You will be my first.
That's an emotional story for you.
It really is.
Why?
There's like ethical lines where you have to just be in truth. And I thought for half a second, should I try to fake it till I make it, or should I just own it that I haven't? And my gut was over-wrenching. Tell the truth, be yourself. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And those two now live in Florida, but they often joke about that. And it was the first resale home to ever sell for $1 million in Spur Wing. I mean, and it wasn't that long ago. That's kind of how things have taken off. But I think if you're honest and you seek help, people want to help you. They really do. They genuinely want to help you.
Yep. People want to be wanted. That's powerful. And when you can enlist that in any sales, but they also want to help somebody who's honest and who's just grinding.
Yeah.
Speak of the grind, I want to talk about this for a second because you just hit on it. You and I were both raised to just work hard. Just grind, just work hard. I mean, my dad's that way, your dad's that way. But then at some point, I think we both realized that hard work alone is not enough. If hard work alone was enough, then the mule would own the farm.
Yep. That's a good one.
And that's a harsh thing to realize when you're raised the way we were. Talk about that for you. When did you start realizing that? When did you start thinking about working smarter, not harder?
Well, I think I could work really, really, really hard, and other people would be turned off by it if I'm not collectively, if I don't have leadership skills. I mean, a lot of people want to be leaders or company owners, but they don't have the qualities that other people want to follow. So my work ethic alone is not enough. Other people won't want to follow that just because I work hard. They want other characteristics of it. And I realized early by myself, I mean, in sports, I'm not going to be the best player, but I'm still the team captain. And I'm still the guy that everybody looks towards me because of the collaboration. Guys are down, I bring them together, the huddles, the motivations, the early in the morning. People say the journey is lonely. I love the journey. When I was preparing for a marathon, I love running by myself. I saw peace in the journey. I love the behind the scenes by myself. I don't think it's lonely.
Matt, we talked about the Valley View High experience. We talked about Europe, but that leaves this giant gap, right? Which is Boise State University and your time there. I would love to just sit back and listen to you talk a little bit about your journey to even get from Valley View to Boise State.
Parents and kids who've gone through it, I had a lot of accolades in high school and didn't get a single scholarship. Like College of Idaho, no. Northwest Nazarene, no. Can I walk on a Boise State? No. Idaho State, no. U of I, no. Lewis and Clark, no. Eastern Washington, no. I mean, Seattle Pacific, I took a visit to, and I think they offered me like 25 cents on the dollar. So I went to a junior college in Spokane. My sister was a senior at Gonzaga. I went to Spokane Community College. And my experience was unique to say the least. It was not an energy-packed young kids. The average age was in their 40s and 50s. They had the roller bags. There's 50 people that would get together outside the entrance of the building smoking cigarettes. You'd breathe out of your mouth as you'd go into the building. It was not a college experience.
Oh, man.
I treated it like a business mission. I mean, I got up at 5 a.m. We did swim workouts. I'd tread water. I got up to 30 minutes treading water, and I hate swimming.
I hate swimming.
Oh, my gosh.
I hate swimming.
I'd have my towel in freezing winters in Spokane, and then we'd do class and work study, and I get home every night after 10 o'clock between weights and all that.
Yep.
And I was like, I can either be very, very motivated to become a really good basketball player, or my future is going to be this, or I'm basically out. I'm going to have to go to a 4-year school, be a regular kid. So I got obsessed with my body, working out, weight training, and everything that year. And I got so much better development-wise that Boise State said, hey, you can walk on. We'll give you you have 4 years to play 3. We'll give you 2 years guaranteed as a full-ride scholarship. You got to walk on the first year with a chance to get 3 out of 4. Couple schools at that time, Division I, smaller schools had offered me. A couple, like Montana State, took back my scholarship. They offered me a scholarship 3 days later.
They took it back?
3 days later, they took it back.
Oh, my gosh.
So imagine that. You're 18. I'm 18 years old. I hadn't even had my 19th birthday. I've finished most of my first year in junior college. I go visit Bozeman. You're getting a full-ride scholarship, Matt. Coach shakes my hand. 3 days later, we're going to go with a guard out of Texas who's a better style of play. The guard out of Texas ended up having a double murder and serving 2 life sentences in prison. It was all over Sports Illustrated in the mid-2000s.
A double murder.
That's who they took over me. You can't make this up.
No, it is wild.
You can't make this up.
That is wild.
You can't make this up.
How does young Matt interpret that? Like, where was your head at when you found this out?
It's a sign because my parents are like, go, who's offering you the scholarship? And in my head, I knew I wanted to raise my family in Idaho. I'm a multi-generation Idahoan, and I'm thinking, if I go away to Montana State and play good at basketball, no one here cares.
Yeah.
If I can go to Boise State, I don't care if I have to walk on, I'll bet on myself. And I can meet the right people and connections and boosters, and I can be ingrained in that Boise State community. The sky's the limit because I don't want to leave. I want to raise my family there. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I walked on. I rolled the dice. That first year was amazing. It was such a high level of basketball I didn't think I could get to, but I just was crafty.
So at what point after Montana State says, no, sorry, you don't have a scholarship, does Boise State take you as a walk-on? Like, what was that timeline
Within
like?
14 days.
So do you think that, like, this is the irony with life, right? Even though Montana State pulled it, I bet them offering you raised your stock a little bit.
For sure. Because then what happened was I decided to preferred walk on at Boise State. University of Montana offered. University of Idaho offered. I could have been a Vandal. I'm not going to say anything there. I'm glad I didn't go up to Moscow. I have a lot of family.
Everything happens for a reason.
I have a lot of family that are Vandals. If I wish all the Vandals success when they're not playing the Broncos. But every decision, every time a door closes, you just think there's a reason. There's a higher calling. There's a reason. There's another opportunity that's going to go. And getting to Boise State, I was the least athletic guy on the team. I mean, the level was so much higher than where I was at, which made sense. They didn't offer me a scholarship. But I got to be one of the strongest in the weight room. I got to be team captain. I started next year as a sophomore. I was on scholarship. Our team won a championship my senior year.
Yeah.
And I go back to all these motivations because when somebody says you can't, it can fuel you and make you mad, or you can shut down.
Yep.
Idaho State took a home visit in high school, and they told me I don't play good enough defense. I'm not going to play at the Division I level. I was crushed. I thought Idaho State was doing a home visit to my school to offer me a scholarship. I was always optimistic.
Yeah.
And my senior year, I'm first team all defense in the whole conference.
There you go.
I can't guard a chair, but somehow mentally I got to be first team all defense.
Yeah. What's up now?
Yeah. My high school coach would send newspaper clippings to that Idaho State coach. Pretty funny. Even when I got to Europe, he'd still send those clippings.
That stuff sticks around for a long time.
It does.
That stuff sticks around. My high school football coach told me, you will never play defensive end at the Division I level in college. And I just thought, okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
He's talking about guys like Terrell Suggs at Arizona State. I mean, hey, I get it. That guy's a freak. He's running like a 4.6 40, but I'll figure out a way.
Yep.
I'll figure out a way.
Yep.
I did.
That blue collar, just tell me no.
We crossed paths in the weight room in Boise State a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, you were somebody I never wanted to talk to. You were intimidating. We had the same. So back then we had the same strength coach. Now every team kind of has their own strength coach. They got a budget we didn't have. Our strength coach what did Coach Pitt and Saha had to do? 30 sports.
Every sport.
It's crazy.
In that old weight room with those rickety weights. Remember, our only supplement was chocolate milk. Remember when we got chocolate milk? And
if we wanted two, they said no way.
You don't get two.
Meals. This is what's crazy with today's sports. When I got on scholarship, it was $500 a month. That paid for your housing, your food, your gas, your entertainment. If you had a cell phone, everything. It was wild. You couldn't even accept meal from a booster. You couldn't sleep on a booster's couch.
Nothing.
And now it's gone polar opposite the other way.
No, nothing. What I always tell people is I had $10,000 saved up when I was a freshman in college from working in high school and as a kid. And by the time I graduated, I was dead broke.
Oh yeah,
dead broke.
Not allowed to get a job, not allowed to do anything.
No.
Yeah, it was so lopsided back then, and now it's gone so far the other way.
We sat down once and calculated with our scholarly checks, cost of tuition, and how many hours a year we worked at our sport, how much per hour we made, and it was like $1.75 an hour.
Surprised it was that high. Oh my goodness!
You're in there 5 a.m. workouts in the spring, just grinding.
It's wild.
Yeah, but it worked out for you, right? I mean, you learned a lot.
Well, and I think everything happens. You talk about door closing. I really wanted to go to law school. I got my degree in political science. I was working at a law firm downtown that had 50 attorneys. My sister's a lawyer. And I took the LSATs twice. I'm not a good test taker. And I should have kept the letter, but University of Idaho Law sent me we're sorry to inform you, you're not accepted to the law school. I applied to a couple others. Didn't get accepted, which then my senior year, we do good in basketball, and I get an opportunity to play 1 year in Europe. So I was going to retake the LSATs, and all the lawyers encouraged me to go to Europe, play 1 year of basketball. And I went there with no pressure, thinking I was going to play 1 year, go back to law school. And the 1 year went really well, and it led to a 2 year contract that I blinked in 6 years I played over there.
That had to be a good experience.
It was. There was definitely lows, but I seek the highs. We had 2 days off. I drive to another country. I embraced the culture. This tells you something about life too. Talk about pressure. They're like, Matt, you have a bad game. You're back to America. You're not getting paid. That was some of the pressures of daily pressure there. I was the only guy on some of my teams, especially towards the later part, that got all their money. My 6th year, we were in Greece, and almost everybody didn't get all their money. But I would stay after, thank the boosters, show a genuine gratitude, and it really paid off in that aspect.
How have you, this might be a poorly framed question, but I go back to your high school, college, Europe, a lot of rejection, a lot of people saying no, a lot of situations that don't work out the way that you planned. But throughout the whole thing, you stay positive, you stay interactive, you keep interacting with community leaders, boosters, coaches, which really was constantly kind of like setting up the next stage of success for you. I mean, in other words, it was what you were doing off the court as much as what you were doing on the court. Yeah. Did you never feel resentful? Did you never feel like just shutting down and saying, screw this and screw all you people and I'm not getting what I deserve?
No, because then they'd win, and I hate losing. I always wanted to prove people wrong. And you work out either because you're mad trying to prove people wrong, or you have to have something that gets you up in the morning. Like right now, I don't get up in the morning for myself. I think of charities. I think about my team members, the company, the clients. I get up for others, which makes it way easier to work hard, to grind when it's for something else. Anytime I'm rejected, it fuels me. It honestly brings me energy.
You just said something very interesting. I said, didn't you ever feel resentful? And you said that would have made them win. How does that work for you? Talk to me about that mentally.
People are so soft. Our young kids are so soft. I call them Charmin soft. If I get at you constructive criticism and you immediately think I'm wrong, poor me, victim, you are you're so self-absorbed into your own feelings. Like if somebody gives me constructive feedback, I'm going to take it. And when it really hurts is when it's the truth. Have you ever noticed that? If somebody gets really defensive about something, the odds are it's probably the truth, and it really hits a heartstring.
That's right.
But I don't think I'm extremely sensitive. I think if I do something wrong, can I correct it? My wife's really good at putting me in check quickly, but I try not to get sensitive. I have this skill that I can get a horrible phone call on the phone, and it might be a massive deal that was lost, something that happened horribly. I can, in 5 seconds, that is completely dead to me, on to the next. Like bad news I can honestly almost forget it and black it out, that it never even happens, and I'm on to the positive thing next.
That's a skill, and it's a critical skill in our business, critical skill in any business. It's obviously one you've honed over the years. I've watched you get better at it. You've watched me, I'm sure, get better at it. At least I hope I have a little bit. But it's also, I'd like to know for you, who first started talking to you about the importance of this? Was it your mom?
It always would be like she would always say, something that already happened you can't change, but you can learn from it. It's in the rearview mirror. You can't go back. So it's almost, and I remember you gave me my very first referral. He was a police detective for Garden City Police. I'll never forget. We made an offer, my first offer. I'm shaking. I didn't sleep every 10 minutes I woke up because I was so excited for them and their kids that they were going to get the house. And I thought to myself, if I'm like this and I can't sleep at night for every single person, imagine like a trauma surgeon. If they let that weigh on them, then they're doing a disservice to the next and the next and the next and the next, right? They can't have a bad day.
Yep.
So I was thinking I have to be able to be present and shut it off immediately, or I'm going to have so much baggage and so much carrying weight. I'm never going to feel rested. I'm never going to feel I can sleep. But I sleep really well, and I always just know, hey, what's done is done, and on to the next.
Does your faith play a role in that?
Totally. I mean, when 1,000%, because it's so temporary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything we're doing is not that important.
Yeah.
If you realize what we do is not life or death, and it's more about the impact than the accolades,
Mm-hmm.
it completely takes pressure off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one thing. Like, if I lose today, it's okay. I just got to give it everything I have, and like hard work and going for it is not an option.
And never quitting.
Never quit. Oh,
yeah.
That is never say. My dad always said, you never say the word can't. If you said the word I can't, he corrected you immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you never said those words. Then it just gets out of your vocabulary.
Yep.
And everything you is like, okay, I and you start to say it and you won't.
Yep.
It just corrects yourself.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to get with my kids.
Yeah, it's the road to quitting, right?
Oh yeah.
Just like self-pity and I don't deserve this,
Yep.
and I don't deserve this outcome. I've worked too hard for this. Why me? Poor me. It's
Yep.
all on the same path towards quitting.
It absolutely is. And then you got two sides of the brain. If you're like me, the good side's talking, and then the quitting side is, hey, you don't need to do this. You've worked hard. You can take it off. You have two sides always talking to you on both shoulders. And I think the more you try to create those good habits, the less the voice, it knows that it can't get in there.
Yeah.
Right?
But that other voice is still there.
It's always there.
Isn't that kind of surprising to you? Like, didn't you
there.
think that like at a certain point it would just shut the
No.
shut up?
Because if you give it a little bit of attention, what does it do?
Gross.
It gets louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
And it's a negotiation in yourself. We all have negotiations internally nonstop.
Yeah, what's that old saying? Like everybody has a bad wolf and a good wolf in them,
Yep.
or a bad dog and a good dog, and which one takes over is the one you feed.
Yep. I love that.
Isn't that so
Yep.
true?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's just like who you hang out with. You can hang out with people who are negative, who are always talking about others, or you can hang out with people who are talking about goals. They're building each other up. I mean, eagles soar with eagles. Eagles don't soar with pigeons.
Yep.
So if you're positive and you surround yourself with positive people, you soar.
And that was part of you and I are both in alignment on that. And that was part of Amherst Madison from the jump too. And I remember sitting there at Goodwood Barbecue in Eagle Road talking to you about this brokerage that I was going to put together. And I wanted you on the team so bad because of what we're talking about right now. I was just like, man, I just want people that are grinders, that are humble, that want big things, that want to provide great service. People ask me that to this day. It's like, well, describe the great agent you want or the perfect agent for your team. I just want people who work hard, who are ethical, who take ownership. Like it doesn't. They're shocked that it doesn't. Yeah. Nothing comes out of my mouth about like they've sold all this real estate or this is how much money they have or what kind of clothes they wear. It's not about that.
No.
It's not about that.
We have this. Our team created these 4 words that basically it's every day's a gift. G is grit. You better have extreme grit because times will get tough. And if you don't have grit, you will get ran over. And then the I is integrity. You always have the integrity. I mean, even if the shortcut might mean more money or something, you have to have integrity and live with it or you can't be on the team. And then family's everything. F is family. Yep. Whether it's your family at home that will always help support and you need to be there or your family here at work. And then the T is trust. If you lie, it's really hard to believe you the second time.
Yeah.
So I think those 4 things are kind of our acronym on, has nothing to do with how skilled you are, how you have a pedigree of success in your family, if you're in the industry, whatever. None of that has to do with that. Mm-hmm. It's just 4 things that to us is what the difference is. I mean, you look at Amherst, our first year, all of Amherst, we sold 14 million.
Yep.
And then this year, 1.3 billion. Yep. So what happened in between? I got to ask you, what happened in between?
Man, there's been a lot of falling down and getting back up again. A lot of reinventing yourself. And one of the things nobody tells you when you start a company is how many times you're going to have to restart it and reignite it and bring it back from the ashes. There's so many times in a company's history where tons of your agents leave or you have some defection with your leadership team or something bad is in the press or you go through a legal challenge with somebody. And I've been through all of these things. And it just puts this giant spotlight on what you've been talking about, which is never quitting and being open to change and being open to growth. And learning that hard work alone is not enough. You got to have partnerships. You got to have people around you, and that's a lesson I feel like I always have to learn over and over again is I can't do it on my own. Like I need help. I need other people around me, and I think back about our beginning, and you and I had this lunch at Goodwood. You said, yeah, and you want to come join. But then after you came over and we launched, you went back to play one more season, right?
Yeah.
So then it was cool and irritating both for me, because we were talking then and we were closer and talking about real estate, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to come back. But in the meantime, I've got a startup I'm dealing with, and that's a grind.
Oh, yeah.
I just left the fire department. I got no salary. I got no security. I got no freaking money. I'm trying to sell to keep the lights on and then run a brokerage. And Matt's sending me pictures of these giant beers on the beach in Cyprus. I'm just like, oh, why couldn't I have been a better athlete?
Yeah, yeah, that was good, because I had finished my 5th year and I got my real estate license, and I was thinking about going into real estate. Then we got this job in Cyprus, a Greek island, and me and Lindsay are newlyweds, and we're like, all right, we got to go one more year.
Yep.
We haven't been anywhere on a beach yet.
Yep. But that was a big part of your guys' foundation too, right? As a couple.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, very learned a lot, grew a lot. I mean, it's probably set the tone. You guys love traveling. You love going to these places. That was like the beginning of you guys, right?
Yeah. Lindsay's so adventurous. She would drop and she'd travel tomorrow. I mean, she loves adventure and going and traveling and that. And, any team, you got to have different roles. And she is the CEO who holds down the fort at the house and all of the things there that make me be so relaxed and confident in what I do, because I don't have to worry about a single thing. I mean, I'm like the dad at Christmas when they open the presents. I'm as surprised as the kids. I have no idea what they're getting.
Yeah.
And it's fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's neat. Like,
yep.
Yeah, like I know when I get home, there's going to be a bunch of boxes I'm going to have to break down, throw away.
Yeah.
And that's my job.
Yeah, did you put my name on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's my job. I break down the boxes, I get the mail, I take out the trash. Like, we have our roles, and I'm good with that.
I feel, of all the things that's been fun, you and I working together, it's also been so rewarding to be a part of each other's personal lives. And I remember like it was yesterday, the day that Naya was born, and just watching you guys grow as a family has been such a blessing for me over the years. But that was a scary moment too.
Oh, yeah.
We
lived at the hospital. Oh, my gosh. We were having our first baby, and we go in for an ultrasound. We're going to go to Mexico on one of those, before baby moons, whatever they call it. We go in for ultrasound, and the lady's face, she's the tech, her face kind of turns white. And we were, what's wrong? She goes, we got to send you down for a specialist. So me and Lindsay are thinking, what is happening? And then that doctor goes, well, you have a vasa previa. And I go, what's a vasa previa? And like, I'm a numbers guy. How common is it? And this doctor was over 70 years old. And he goes, well, I've been at St. Luke's for 30 plus years, and I've seen 2. So it's like a 1 in 10,000 occurrence. And he basically said that if she contracts and the vessel bursts, you got 7 minutes. And I go, 7 minutes till what? And he goes, till the baby's dead. So we lived at St. Luke's. We moved in a month. I think we lived there close to a month before Naya was born prematurely at 35 weeks, weighed less than 5 pounds. And I think there's different milestones in life when you think you're motivated. Like, you get married, there's a new motivation, right? You got to protect, provide, be there. When you look at the baby in the eyes and it's helpless and it's looking at you, like there's a motivation that just comes out that I just wanted to run through a wall for her to be that dad for her. And I remember holding her, and in one hand, she was so little, looking at her being like, whoa, I'm having emotions I didn't know even existed, right? But it was special. The hospital and the staff was amazing. We got to leave shortly after, and she's been tenacious ever since.
Oh, yeah. She's got that dog in her.
Yep.
Something about kids, man, I think that have, hard births and hard pregnancies, and like Charlotte's the same way.
Yeah.
Because she had the umbilical cord wrapped around her, and we kept losing her heartbeat and her pulse every time, we would go through contractions, and Megan was trying to get her out, and they rushed the crash cart in at one point, or about ready to gut my wife because they think that there's gonna have to be an emergency C-section, and I didn't think Charlotte was gonna make it, and they didn't either. And then like one last push, she finally comes out, dude, and she was so dark purple, she was almost the color of your shirt, and I didn't even think she was alive. And it's that kid from the jump has been like
Oh yeah.
She's got that dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was tough. And I remember holding Naya and I just like, man, I never seen anything that small before.
No.
It was wild.
It was like the lowest weight baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was in NICU for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
A long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, what a miracle. Praise God.
And as a parent, like, the greatest compliment I ever got on my daughter was, it wasn't that she gets all A's. It isn't how many points she scores in a game or wins. It was one time the principal told me that there was a new kid at school and didn't have any friends. And Naya went over to them and said, "You're going to sit with us," introduced them to everybody. And immediately that kid felt included, didn't feel an outcast, didn't feel like the new kid. Went back she didn't say one word to me. Went back, that kid went back and told their parents how amazing that was that this little girl included them. Well, the parents told the principal, who told me, and I was taken off because she didn't say, and I go, that is the ultimate success to me, more than grades, sports, anything. It's just being that young kid and that human.
There's so much story behind all this, family, business, life. Then you get Bam.
Oh man,
who lives up to the name.
We thought his name was gonna kind of fall off, but he might be Bam throughout life.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Matt, what does your family mean to you today? Providing for them, protecting them, living for them. What does it mean to you?
It's everything. I mean, it's the cool thing about having your own family is you take your upbringing, your childhood, and you take the good and you try to incorporate it for the transitions, and then the things you think you can improve, you can change. And what I want is when my kids have their own families, there's weaknesses with us. I want them to have a legacy of their own to take on. But what I'm trying to instill and what my wife's trying to instill with them is being a good person, giving everything you have, work ethic, grit, integrity, trust, and just that aspect of it. Family's absolutely everything.
Yeah. I see that. I think one of the things you and I share in common is we genuinely enjoy being dads, and we genuinely enjoy being around our family. And I don't know, I think sometimes like there's a misnomer or kind of a bad, I feel like sometimes there's this like stereotype of dads that come home and they're exhausted from work and now they have to, play with their kids, and it's even more exhausting. I have never felt that way. I've always felt like my kids give me energy. It's rare that I won't get energized and happier when I'm around them. And I feel like you're the same way with your kids.
Yeah, they give so much energy. I mean, being around them and then them growing in front of our eyes. I mean, the years go by like months. They really do. I mean, 2026 is here. I mean, it's
wild.
Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing how fast it goes by. And those moments, like I just saw something that said, a house full of chaos during the holidays seems like chaos. The little feet running, Christmas, all the feelings. Somebody flashed back, and now they were older, and they're saying, "I would do anything for the chaos, for the noise."
Yeah,
like it's something I think we really embrace. We really need to embrace.
We have to, because neither you or I are going to like it when it's quiet.
No,
we don't do well with quiet.
No, I like the chaos.
So one thing I want to get to before we wrap this up is sort of you work in a world in real estate where you have to present yourself a certain way. People want to work with successful realtors. They just do. A lot of times, like as a brokerage owner and an agent myself and a coach, even like I've heard it all. I've heard it all over the last 15 years. And, some people would say like consumers might criticize agents for bragging too much or for always talking about their successes or always talking about their record sales. And I've heard that over the years, and I've kind of said back to people, well, yeah, because that's driven by consumers, because that's what they want.
Yeah.
They want to work with agents that are successful. They want to work with people that are successful. So you almost are kind of pushed into this way of marketing yourself because you have to give the consumers what they're asking for, and they're asking for the top agent. They're asking for the agent that sells everything. But number one, I guess I would say, how do you view that? And number two, how do you balance it with the reality that, you still have bad days and you're still human?
Every day I try to say we're unemployed, and we have not, right when you wake up, we're unemployed. So the numbers are great. I mean, I have publications from all around the country saying, how are you doing what you're doing in a little potato market of Idaho? It's impossible. Like, how are you beating people in Chicago and all around the country? And if you have that unemployed everyday mentality, it puts things into perspective. And I'm just thinking like the boisterous, if you're going to be bragging on numbers, well, coaches are judged on their wins and losses, players on their championships. They talk about Tom Brady Super Bowls. You talk about a lawyer who wins big cases you want to be with, a great knee surgeon who does lots of knees on the high athletes. That's who you want your surgery done by, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is based on you want to be surrounded by people who you know are going to be successful and they're going to do a good job for you. So it's kind of this double-edged sword where you're bragging about something, but you're also letting people know that you are the expert in whatever field you're in. You want to have a building built. Do you want it by a commercial contractor who's done millions of square feet or somebody who were the first job? So it's
and everybody knows that. And so then the commercial company that's built the millions of square feet will promote the fact that they've done that. But then people will turn around and criticize them and say, all you guys do is brag and talk about all the square footage you built.
And we'll still probably use them.
Yeah, exactly. But they're still going to use them because that's what they need. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you give to a new agent? What advice would you give to yourself if you were a new agent coming into this world?
I wish I would have trusted others quicker, and I grew quickly. I mean, my third year in real estate, I sold over 100 houses, which I remember me and you did a podcast, and you're like, you're the youngest agent in the history of Idaho to sell over 100 houses. I didn't have a team or anything really. And my advice would be leverage others who are good at things you're not good at. Because when I started realizing that there's people that are way better at certain tasks than me, we grew really, really fast. And it's more fun to share the success. We had a huge sledding event yesterday. And it would have been lonely if it was just me. But seeing everybody else, like the clients, the family, the friends, our team just embracing it, owning it, having the ownership of that event, it means so much more to me. But yeah, it's a never-ending question.
One of the things I've always observed about you that I don't want to say it's a secret of your success, but it's something I don't think we talk about often enough. And it's been a through line for you since you were a kid and hearing your whole story, which is that you cared about this community. I mean, you always cared about it even more in some ways than you cared about sports, because you were always going outside of what you were doing on the court and outside of what you're doing in the weight room to build relationships with supporters of Boise State athletics or people in the community out in Valley View, people in your family. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how big your family is and what it's like to go to a Bauscher Thanksgiving or it's pretty overwhelming at times, the size almost of the community that you've built. I guess, number one, I'd like you to talk about that a little bit. And then is that something you can teach or does somebody just get that or they don't get it?
I think you can teach it. I mean, community is everything to me. The fact that we get to raise our kids in a safe community like this, I cannot tell you how inspiring that is, how amazing that is. But there's pressure on us to get back to the community and the nonprofits of people not doing good as us. I think that we always talk about pressure is a privilege. I'm honored to have pressure because if nobody put any pressure on me, they didn't trust me. So I feel an obligation to our state and our community to give back even more and try to make a difference and keep it the way it is and safe and thriving and not let it turn into some of the cities that surround us that you've seen the destruction of. It's an honor and a privilege to live here. And I don't take that for granted one day.
What's next for Bauscher Real Estate? I mean, I've continued to watch you grow, get involved in different things in the real estate industry. What do you guys got going on? What's next? What do you want people to know?
We love what we do, and we don't have any plans to leave the state. We love Idaho, so this is going to be our focal point. We've talked about opening up other offices in the state, but right now I'm really honing in on what we're doing here and just trying to make a bigger impact. Our team, letting the team, I'm trying to strengthen the individual members now. And I don't want to grow to 50 people on the team. I like our size. I'd rather focus on quality over quantity and really try to empower the ones underneath the roof now than try to grow and have 100 agents. I'm not excited about that at all. So I think I'm trying to perfect what we're doing.
Yeah. Stay humble, quality
Absolutely.
over quantity, put community first.
As my mom would say, stay humble and kind.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on. first agent in Amherst, Madison.
Let's go.
Partner, first agent to jump on the podcast. Appreciate you, brother.
I love it.
All
Thank
right.
you, brother.
Thank you.